So I'm Spencer. I'm really excited to be kicking us off this morning, and we're starting with building community and digital ecosystems here. We got a fantastic panel, and so let's just run down the line and do some quick intros.
Sure. Hey everyone, so I'm Kat. I started in the space in 2016 as a crypto trader while working in architecture designing high-rises and custom homes in Vancouver. After that, I started launching NFT projects for about a year and a half, and now I am combining my passions and working for a metaverse company and helping build metaverse spaces.
Hey there, my name is Ferny. I'm mostly known on Twitter for FFEV. I'm a community builder. I'm huge into just really interacting with the community and just kind of growing my following to have more opportunities for myself and share them with others as well.
My name is Raphael Hyde. I lead Web3 at Google in the community sector. Aside from that, I do design on BigQuery and Google Cloud, and also I'm pretty active in the angel investing space around Web3 and other technologies.
Hi, Hello? Yeah, thanks. Hi, I'm Trish. I'm kind of an accidental community builder falling into Clubhouse. I don't know how many of you were in Clubhouse. I've been fortunate to launch some really amazing projects, Duran, Shepherd Ferry, and all of that. But what I really love to do is kind of bring up and coming new artists, new technologists, and kind of like partner people together. So I'm like the connector, I guess is the best way to put it. Also nervous speaker. I like it when you can't see my face and I'm in spaces, so it's a little awkward.
Well, thank you everyone for that. Trish, I like your little theme song that's kicking on right now. No, it's not you, it's not you. Alrighty, so Trish, you got the hot mic, so we'll start with you and then work back towards me, and let's just ease into this. It's 9:30 in the morning on a great Friday in Seattle. Tell me about your definition of community, and specifically within the context of the digital ecosystems that we're exploring in Web3.
That's a lot. I like playing a supportive role, and I'm kind of at this stage in my life where I want to know I'm leaving behind a better future than sort of the shit. Am I allowed to swear? Because shit in Web2, the 1%, and I want to make sure that the crypto is in the hands of people who are going to make the future a better place, and I'm always kind of in that. I love community building. I love working with younger people. I've seen a lot and want to remind them. And so as much as I love the art, I really want to connect young people, emerging artists, emerging technologists with who they need to be connected with to change the future. Because it still takes money, right? It still takes ETH.
So that's a really good question. I think today, with technology and the internet, we've been able to remove a lot of borders and connecting with people that have a different perspective on the world. And so I think for me, it's like developing a shared understanding around a value or a principle or a mission. And that before was pretty limited by maybe certain socioeconomic profiles, but I think with Web3 and the internet, we can expand that out orders of magnitude at exponentially low cost. And anyone can do that. You just need an internet connection. And so I think in a way we've seen Web3 and blockchain technology adopt faster in some of these like developing countries because they're mobile first and they're so tied into those primitives as like this is like almost entertainment. I mean that spectrum of value is variable, but I think that shared understanding is really important.
Yeah, for me, what community is to me is a group of people that have the same common goals, common interests, and really just want to help with one another, really uplift one another, whether it be financially, socially, or building something, a project, or a new business or something like that. We all come together, we all help each other, and it doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter your financial. Just come with a good attitude and a willingness to learn, and you're in the community.
Yeah, I think those are all really amazing answers. I don't know how I'm going to trail off of that, but let's see. Yeah, so community is very important. In the Web3 space, I would have to say community is probably like number one. Without your community, like you may not have as like a successful product, platform, space. Your community is the people who share the same mission and values as you. Your community are your users, the people who use and test, the people who also give you feedback on your product as well too. So like without them, you don't really have that much. And I think your relationship and your connections with the community is very different than how it's done in Web 2. I think in Web 2, it's very much you build something and your community or your fans, your followers, your users are just there. But in Web 3, it's very interactive, it's very engaging. And so I guess we'll probably trail into more of that later.
We're going to trail into a lot more of that later, and I'm going to come back to some of the answers and responses there. But let's take this one step further. And what I'm really interested in talking about, especially as we start this conference, is how do you start a community in Web3, and what are the first steps? And in order to keep us from doing the cycle of panelists Congo lines back and forth, Rafe or Ferny, this one kicks off with you guys. So how do you think about starting community in Web3?
I'm so interested. I'm really interested to hear your answer because this is sort of an accidental endeavor. And I think I really am a people watcher. I think that community gets overused a lot, and it gets used as sort of just a way to market. And I've always found that like wildly offensive. So I think it's about like relationships, really listening to people. I genuinely like am just into kind of, if you're into something intensely, I'm super into you and what you're into. You know, I find subculture really interesting. I learn new things every day. I love to learn. And so I think that really connecting with people on that level, it has to be organic. And you know when it's organic, you know when people are really building community and they care about the people in their community, or, you know, as opposed to, you know, 5 steps, 10 things you can do to build your community, which I think is very Web 2, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, for me, I you know, when I started, kind of like her, it was an accidental kind of thing. I got into Twitter really early, like into this whole CT crypto Twitter, NFTs and stuff. And to be honest, you know, the thing that really helped me was just what she said, just be genuine. You don't, people know when you're just BSing them, you know, people know when you're trying to engagement farm or things like that, you know, people just know you're not BSing anybody, you know. But what really helped me is just engaging with everybody, you know, going onto Twitter every morning, seeing who wrote, you know, the original GMs. I GM every day. I GM to everybody, and just really having real conversations with people, and not taking yourself. For me, this is from my opinion, not taking yourself too seriously, because you know, there's people out there that really, you know, think that they're hot stuff or something like that, and no one really wants to be around that. A community, you know, we all uplift each other and we all do things together. And you know, for me, what helped me engage with people is like, you know, the NFT community is probably the most welcoming community I've ever been a part of. You know, I've never really been out there ever in my life, so having them welcome me, and having, you know, mostly I'm anonymous on Twitter, so these people don't even know what I look like, and you know, they're welcoming with warm arms, and they trust me. The main thing about the whole community, about building community, is trust. You know, if people don't trust you, no one's going to listen to you. But.
Anything to add there, Kat?
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I guess also kind of accidental community in a sense, although my community base is on TikTok. I don't know if any of you guys use TikTok or whatnot. So that's kind of where I've grown a lot of my community. But I would say like the first steps in starting or building a community is like, one, find something that you're really genuinely, like you guys said, like passionate about, something that you really like and enjoy, because every niche or every category in the Web3 space, there's a community for that, or there's a tool for that, or there's someone building that. So find something that you are really genuine about, and then find the matching communities, and then like start there.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Are we still going, Spencer? Or are we?
Fire away.
All right, so I'll make it short. You guys have covered a lot of important stuff. For me, I think the origin story was around, there was just a lot of unanswered questions in the groups of people I was spending time with, and also there was just a lot of ambiguity around like what is our real understanding of the space, whether it's technology or an end goal or like what we want to create. And so I think it was just like basing it off of that, that organic need, and then it just evolved naturally. Because obviously communities exist everywhere around, belief systems, religion, products, community, or like neighborhoods. And so I think it was like, it just started so organically, and we just tried to answer questions that people had. And after a while, everyone kind of came together as like the common square. So.
Well, thank you guys for that. For this next one, let's just put in the context. It's the end of September. The Web3 space is in a very different place than it was 12 months ago. There have been a lot of lessons learned.
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious to take your guys' perspective on mistakes that you've seen in community building over the last year, and how we think about those mistakes and how we grow from them.
Well, I can start with this one. So I think probably the biggest one, I didn't learn this. I wasn't as involved in this, but I think it's like one of the major patterns we see whenever there's like hyper growth in a market based off of economic stimulus, or like the hype cycles we see in technology. And I think you see a lot of puffery going on. So you see communities that are overemphasizing the opportunity or the potential outcome of involvement with such thing, service or product system. And I think that's unfortunate, because I think that created a lot of negative sentiment in the space around Web3 and NFTs, et cetera, when I don't think that was the original intent. I think these people really did believe in creating something of value. But we can't change the global economy. That was out of our reach. If we're looking at a comparison of like the securities markets to the total Web3 markets, we're like 1% or so. So we're going to follow that. We're correlated tightly. But I think like if people maybe were just a little more honest with their outcomes, that's my opinion. I think we could have prevented some negative sentiment in the space, and maybe prevented a significant downturn that I think we're going to recover from. But we're feeling that pain. I'm sure we're all feeling that pain.
Yeah, for one of the things I kind of want to go off of that is like transparency. Transparency is probably one of the biggest things that we as a community really not complain about, but it is something that's a problem, because we have different projects always dropping every other second. 1,000 projects would drop today, and no one really talks about what they're going to do, who they are, what they're going to do with the money, what's the goals of these types of things like that. And when you ride off a hype and all this FOMO kind of things like that, a lot of people lose a lot of money, and the headlines are crazy. Rug pulls this $30 million taken out of the liquidity from NFTs and things like that. And we definitely get some big headlines that I saw yesterday. 96% down from all the volume traded. And it's for me, when I look at those things too. I wasn't too good in high school. I wasn't too good in class, but I was good in history. And history tends to repeat itself. And it just reminds me of like when I saw the news articles from like 06 or 02 or things like that, saying that not just social media was a fad, the whole internet was a fad, it's just crazy to see that, like, these headlines, because it's I'm going off in tangent, but it's history repeating itself for me when I see these things.
Want to go, Katreena? Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I lived through I was there for .com. I was actually selling securities, running tickets to the window before E-Trade. So that's how old I am. And I remember when it was like, catbras.com, was making just $1 zillion that IPO just for the sake of having a URL. And then things changed, and come to find out you actually have to have something behind that website. So I'm going to, very unpopular opinion in the NFT space, but I think larger projects have to have some kind of a utility. Some projects organically, like the visitors project that I was on, just turned into this really great like alpha group, but that wasn't their plan. I just think that projects need to really know how much work it's going to be. And once they sell those NFTs, that's when the work starts. So I think we've seen a lot of burnout. I kind of would ask community to be patient and understanding the difference between a rug and like legitimate mental health issues with founders and artists who are kind of the pioneers in this space and didn't expect, kind of that sort of burnout. So that's important. And I would also really like to see transparent, real legal contracts with a commitment to the community and how much money, and very specific between partners and founders, so that everybody knows what to expect and they know the relationships with the partners and kind of what's going to happen. I think if you have a friend, you're going into business, that is the best thing you can do to preserve your relationship with your community and with the partners, and just sort of set every possible sort of contingency, and everybody will end up happier and maybe a little less stressed.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything that you guys have been saying. They're definitely, since when things started going down, there's definitely negative sentiment in the community, but something to think about is as a builder, from a builder perspective, you can't please every single person. So you really got to dial down on your niche. And the amazing thing is during this bear, as I keep building, the community is what's really brought me up, because they see my transparency, they see what I'm creating, they believe in me. I'm building a metaverse cemetery, and they seem to really like it. So they're there for me as I'm building, as I'm creating, as I'm being transparent, as I'm being open with my team, and just my track record of projects that I've launched. They see, hey, okay, we believe in you and we want to support you. Even things are going down. We're here to support you. And so that's the amazing thing. I'm things are kind of down. I feel down today. And my community's just it's okay. You got this. So I think really being transparent, genuine, is really important, and that kind of helps bring the sentiment up. And they will give you that positivity that will lift you, and then you also return that exchange of energy, and it just kind of goes back and forth. So that's an amazing thing.
One thing that I'd like to add to is, and I would admit that I'm like this myself as well, is that the space is very, at the moment, is very impatient, with everything that we do, with the founders, the way things get built. We want everything to come out now. We want the next coin to come out now. And it's hard for, because businesses, they take decades to build, and people in the NFT community right now think they can be built within 6 months, and I'm a millionaire and I'm cashing out, I'm getting the hell out of here. Things like that, and so that's one big thing that I think is a bad thing about the community, is just the impatience. I think if we give more patience, more time for these founders to actually build something that we love and not just forego up, this space will last a lot longer than the bears that would come. But yeah.
Amen. Okay. Well, thank you guys for that. So as I was preparing for this last night, I was running through questions with my girlfriend. She goes, "Well, are you going to say the word community in every question you ask?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." But I think there's a bigger question there too, which is this word community. And we started off with this, which is, what does community in Web3 mean? But I think the other question is that term is more than its literal meaning in the context of Web3. And so what I put to this panel is, why is community in Web3 different? And what is the importance of this? And why are we all here on this stage?
Community is probably the biggest thing. It's probably one of the most important things in the NFT space right now. You can't really do much without the community right now. You can't really build anything. Well, you can, but no one will know about it. If no one knows about it, no one will care about it. And community, just from just a enthusiast, you can learn a lot of things from the community. I'm in many different group chats, telegrams, discords, and things like that. And we all talk amongst each other. We all tell each other what's the next play or what's the next move and things like that. And building community just really not only gets you seen out there more, but it gives you more opportunities. For example, like this thing right here. This is my first time ever speaking at anything like this. And when I first started my Twitter, I never thought I'd be doing things like this. So just getting yourself out there, just be genuine, just really have. And really learn the lingos. The lingos are kind of corny at sometimes, but they're funny, But community building is you won't do anything without them. That's for sure. You're gonna need them.
So I think one major thing that makes it different is we finally have a revolution in technology that's underpinned by a tokenized system that ensures a social contract to the provider of the service and the product to the user. I know that sounds very technical, but we've never really had that before. We've never been able to enforce a ground up notion of accountability. And I think it's that sort of accountability that doesn't exist in a lot of corporations because they can just remove that customer. Now we have a chance to actually apply pressure, feedback, and those things are generally so paramount into like the product development and the service execution process. And so having worked on software that's been distributed all over the world to hundreds of thousands of users, we don't have the capacity in like Web 2 to deal with that relationship because that base layer doesn't exist. But now because we have that base layer, that community can enforce the values and principles that they define in unity with the creator, and that is a holistic cycle, like a shared economy. And so for this is the first time we've been able to do this. And I think that in and of itself is super revolutionary and makes community building in Web3 a very new thing.
I got a mic. Cheers.
Nice.
I kind of, is community really new and more important? I don't know about that. Like, I think there's a lot of really great communities, generations, right? That this technology supports those communities in a new and unique way, which is what I find really interesting. I think that that really is the difference. I think that sometimes like we forget, like I just learned every day from like new people who've been building community, whether it's like activism or, I think of one, I don't know if anybody knows Afro Droids, which was a project Owo dropped and to me like wildly successful. He funded a school in Africa that I forget what country, it's not Nigeria, and I'm ashamed that I can't remember right now, but he's building a community. That school is now going to like benefit from the secondary sales in perpetuity, which is the most amazing thing. It's one of the most successful, amazing projects like I've ever seen, So I'm kind of more interested in how this technology can support communities, especially communities doing like really cool work kind of in the physical world, whether it's local. And I also love how it doesn't have to be just local communities, what we're used to. Now it's like these local communities can now come together and there's this technology that supports, whether it's NFT or also DAOs, because I'm super I'm just into that. So I don't think communities are new or any more or less important, but it always does come down, is it like a genuine community and are people like, doing the good work and supporting each other, all that.
Yeah, and I agree with everything everyone said, of course. But yeah, I guess just like Web3 is all like the shift between centralization to decentralization is such a big component. And so when people like operate their projects as like DAOs, it's very community focused. And we now have like the tools and resources to implement it, kind of like what you were saying earlier. So I guess it's also just like a big mindset shift from how can we apply decentralization and this structure into this particular project.
Well, thank you guys for that. And I love how we move into the technology layer there a little and talk about what's actually enabling durable communities in the digital ecosystem. So Trish, maybe I'd put it back to you. You got your own mic now, so you're unleashed. Love to hear some more about how you're seeing exploration of building communities in the broader Web3 space and how different technologies are helping create new ways for people to do what they've been doing for hundreds of years, but in a new context.
Do I get outside of NFTs a little bit and talk about like?
Yeah, you're unleashed.
I'm gonna talk about it. So I still love NFTs. I'm still NFT Trish. That's such a weird name. I should have thought about it more when just Trish. But yeah, I definitely like want to connect people in NFTs and share with them what's going on like outside. If you don't know, I don't know if everybody knows Gitcoin and the communities kind of in Gitcoin applying for grants, but I recommend writing down quadratic funding and like research it, and also regenerative finance. And it's freaking magic. Like imagine being in a community, just being able to do public good work and actually get paid for it and profit from it and have coins and maybe impact certificates create like value where companies come in and they're buying those because they care about the good of the world, and there's magic going on. And I think that when I got here, NFTs were trying to solve all of those problems, but it's not always like NFTs that do that. And it's good for us to like partner and know what's going on. And that is like, these communities are magic. They're trying everything from solar panels in small communities all over the world to, UBI to, I work with a community, 40 Acres DAO, that is doing like literacy projects across the country. The more they can get funded, the more work they're going to do. And so I'm kind of like, I'm into that crossover a little bit. I'm very into like social justice and making sure that wealth lands where it's supposed to be. And we need to take care of each other and the earth. JPEGs are cool too, but so I kind of am, I'm there a little bit.
So speaking about building community a little and just getting tactical for a moment, I'd love to hear this group's thoughts on strategies or approaches that you have found to be really effective in building communities in your respective spaces. Kat, we're going to start with you, and then everyone can say that they agree with you this time.
Yeah. Wait, what was the question again? How to build community.
What you found to be effective in building community.
Oh, okay. I honestly just like really engaging with your audience. So like speak to them. Like I'm on calls with architects, professors, students, people in the NFT space, people who are on the same mission. Like we literally like it's a lot of maintenance, but it's worth it. Like I chat, like a lot of my meetings, we have like community calls when it comes to Twitter spaces, like really taking people's like feedback and like getting them engaged and involved and actually listening and implementing what they're saying is, I think, a really good start. And I think also just like, as your community gives you all this valuable feedback and is there to support you, you as like a company, product, service, community builder also need to give back to them. So don't think of it as like, what can I take from my community, but like also genuinely give back to the people who are supporting you. So yeah, engagement.
I agree with everything you just said.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, for me, I never like put myself out there on social media or anything like that. But I'm very heavy into Twitter, so I'll give you all the Twitter stuff from my side. Every day, I wake up, I start out with the GM, and everybody on that kind of Twitter, timeline GMs to everybody that GMs, and. It's cool because and I play like a lot of a reply guy. I see whatever is on the timeline, I'll reply to it. I'll give my comment, I'll give my take, whatever it is, just as long as you're just there being seen. And the next thing that I also do is join Twitter Spaces. Twitter Spaces are a big thing right now. It probably grows your community a lot faster than just tweeting words here and there. You get up there, you actually get to hear a voice from the profile picture. Like I said, it's just an ape as my face, so no one knows what I look like. But when you put a voice, it gives it humanizes people, and you get to relate to them and how they actually think. And that's another like big growth that I've noticed from Twitter Spaces and things like that. And also just buzzwords. Like I said, like the GMs, kind of giving your takes about different projects and. Making sure that you're not also, how do I say this, not being too mean about things like that, because people, that's kind of one thing that I didn't like about the community was that like I would ask a question about a project and people would castrate me for that thing or things like that, but. Yeah, setting emotions, whether you laugh, mad, happy, or sad, you trigger emotions, you're going to trigger engagement, things like that. But the more times you can reply to somebody, the more times you can be on spaces, the more times you're seen.
Can I just add a little, you said something about being a reply guy. Shout out to all the reply guys out there because they are keeping me going through this bear market.
Reply guy.
I wanted to add something short because you guys are covering all the important stuff and love quadratic funding, Gitcoin, all those shared economy systems. You should really check them out. They're the future. So I think in the simplest way, like understand why people are there. They are all there for a different reason, potentially. They want to learn something? Do they want to network? Do they want to build something? Do they want to contribute in some other way? Do they want to provide a resource? Do they want to invest, right? And as these communities grow, all those things are important. You can't just have a group of people that just wants to talk without doing something, right? Like, in the end of the day, you have to move the needle forward. And then you have to have a process for each one of those people to engage. And that process takes time. Those feedback loops need to exist. The primitives need to exist for them to engage, find resources, whether at any spectrum of how they're educated, if they're a Web3 native or if they're your grandparents. And so I think understand the need, develop the process for them to engage, and ensure that that's the case across your whole user base or community, because as one gets left out, they will leave, right? And so if you want to foster a sense of belonging and purpose for all these different people, you need to cover your bases. And there are a lot of tools out there in order to do that properly. So develop an incentive mechanism so that they feel that they're being heard, whether that's replies, conversations, credits, tokenization, fractionalization, whatever that is. And so make sure those primitives exist.
That's good. I'm here to crush your dreams a little bit, and everything you just said, and I agree with you. And then also, what was I say? Here to crush your dreams. We're all gonna die. That's what I hear every single one. We're all gonna die. And Facebook is still trying to come in here, everybody. And sometimes we all forget. So I'm super geeked out on every community I'm in. I'm learning more about sneakers than I ever knew. Who knew? I wear Birkenstocks every day. That's thanks to Black Dave. I don't know if anybody knows Black Dave. So yeah, right? He's the best. He onboarded me, and his project is great. But I'm super into there's great people who maybe don't belong in a certain community. It's not a good fit. And I think being honest and helping people find their good fit is super important. And then I always like to creep in when everybody gets too excited that Facebook is still trying to come in. There's still a lot of problems in Web 2 in the real world, and make sure you're paying attention to that. And that's just because I'm old and it's my job. But I'm not the mom, but it's still my job. So yeah, so just a little bit of dream crushing, not totally.
Just Facebook
We need to hear that.
crushing.
Just a little bit. Always Zach bashing. I'm here for that.
Wonderful.
I'm here. I'm down.
Thank you for letting us end, Trish, on the statement that we're all going to die. That's a sobering way
We are
to
all
kick this off.
I
Alrighty.
find that really kind of time is limited. So I actually find that really motivating. I don't mean to freak anybody out.
I love it because then they'll need my cemetery because we're gonna die.
I want to live forever.
Katreena about her projects
All right.
later.
We're never going to die.
I think we're about to get the rug pulled out from us, so we're going to wrap it up. Okay, nothing. All right, well, join me in thanking our panelists, Trish, Ray, Ferny, and Kat. It's been a real honor to kick us off this morning. Thank you, everyone.